Remember how I told you list comprehensions are really pretty cool? Let me show you how cool they are. X for X in range, let's just say 100. Let's just do that, 100. Look at that. I created a list in 1 second, a few seconds, with all the numbers, all the integers leading up to 100, but not including 100. Because remember, range goes from 0 to this number, but like exclusive. Well, it's a good time for me to explain the range function a little bit better. This is a lot like slicing. So it'll go from the start to the stop. There you go, from 30 to the stop. 30 is inclusive, but 100 is not. So start is inclusive. The stop is exclusive. And let's say I wanted to go by tens. I can put in a third argument. That's the step. So 30, 40, 50, 60. So there are really nice ways to create sequences like this using the range function. And notice how this is a lot like a for each loop. So for x in range. So that's how a list comprehension works. So for each x in range, make a list of those x's. Okay, but what we can do is make a list for those x's. We can just say if. I think we have to put the if at the end here. Actually, we can put if x is, let's say, smaller than 50. So that's kind of odd because we could have just stopped at 50. But let's do some weird math here. So like if that x squared is less than, like, I don't know, 200 something, right? Oh, there's none of them. What about 600? Still none of them. If that number squared is less than 6,000 or something. Well, that's okay. Yeah, so that's all of them except for 80 and 90. Okay, so we can put some condition on here that'll only allow this x to go into the list comprehension if that particular number x meets this condition. All right, so we can do conditions. If you wanted to put an else in there, like else put in a 0, it doesn't quite work that way for some weird reason. I'll never really understand this. You have to put it over here. X if x squared is less than 6,000, else 0. That. Okay, so then instead of just clipping off those last two, it puts a 0 in there. So this I would write down. Maybe you could write it in general terms. You could write down variable if condition, else condition. All right, you don't have to put another condition after the else, rather. I'm sorry. Else for variable in other list or range, because range is not quite a list. Of course, this is not going to work. And then the other one is variable for variable in list range if condition. So for some reason, if you don't have an else clause, then you need the if at the end. If you do have an else clause, you need the if between the variable name and the for each part of the list comprehension. Also, I forgot in this generic thing here to put the value, else value. Okay, so 2 awesome ways to put conditionals inside your list comprehension.